am. I am here at the shop, the only one here at the shop, hence the mask off. Um, Busy-ish day, but not crazy busy. Um, the weather threatened rain for a good chunk of the day, and then it finally delivered at around 4 p.m. Really fell. 4:30ish, started going hard. It was basically over by 5:30, 6 o'clock, but I think it definitely kept people away. Um, Really interesting month, June. June for us was a big month of consolidating, trying not to place too many reorders, trying not to restock too much stuff because I'm trying to sell other stuff, but at the same time, realizing that certain books, Plain Jane and the Mermaids, which kind of flew off the shelf, The Deep and Dark, which we have just a couple left of by Molly Ostertag, a few other books really moved heavily, so we did restock them. We've been getting a lot of people in, as I've been talking about now for months, about like 6 months now. Ultimate Spider-Man, still a big mover. Just sold a whole bunch of copies today. Probably, if there's yet another printing of Ultimate Spider-Man #1, we will restock it. We've got plenty of 3, 4, 5s, a few 6s. But all in all, the thing that's so fascinating watching the summer crowd come in, watching people come and just browse and look at is the difference between now and 11 years ago. 11 years ago was our first summer, and people were coming in and saying things like, they still make comic books? Oh, maybe my kids would read a comic book. I don't know. I don't know if they've ever read a comic, to people coming in, and everyone has read some sort of comic now. 11 years after I said, look, comics are really growing. You got the Babysitters, you got the Raina books, you got Ultimate Universe still going, even though they tried to stop it. You have Superior Spider-Man drawing a lot of attention. You have all these movies. The companies are definitely looking to make more serious graphic novels in the vein of Asturias Polyp and the works of Alan Moore. Let's open a comic shop, because I think people are really ready to just see comics as another medium, as another way to tell stories. I'm right. We've got things like Maleficent by Disney. That's just this year. Marvel now owns, which again, 11 years ago, this wasn't the case. Marvel owns Fox. Marvel owns Star Wars. So you're getting Planet of the Apes comics. You're getting countless Star Wars comics, which of course makes other companies jump in. And you get Paramount pushing their Star Trek farther than it ever was pushed when I opened. Assassin's Creed, I'm literally just standing here. There's just so many comics about so many things. And beyond that, you've got the kids. The kids are all reading Dogman. Dogman. Dogman, 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 Dogman. Dogman is the #1 best-selling comic book in America. I had a father in with a little 4-year-old, and he was picking up Dogman, and I have kids in 11 or 12 who are reading Dogman, have been reading it forever. Do I like French comics? I like plenty of comics that come from France. Of course, the classics like Asterix. Big fan of Asterix. The Belgian stuff, Tintin and Lucky Luke and all that wonderful stuff. The European market versus the American market are so different, not only in what they make and in the approach to making comics, but we really have not had something on the level of Tintin or Asterix until the Raina Telgemeier books. Really became our Tintin. They became our middle grade reader books, and now we finally have something like Asterix, something that hopefully will be generational. Parents will pass their kids going, oh, I love Dogman. You should read Dogman. I loved it. I have parents in their 20s, 30s, giving their kids Captain Underpants, or going, I love Captain Underpants. Let's give my kid Dogman. And America has been missing that forever, because you could try to give your kid Spider-Man, but Spider-Man changed over time. Different creators took over, the vibe changed. There's different media pushing different versions, different stories of Spider-Man that there, when I was a kid in the 80s, there really wasn't so many Spider-Man cartoons, but by the time the 90s rolled around, there were cartoons. Late 90s, there's movies in production. It all changes, whereas stuff like Asterix, stuff like Tintin, Lucky Luke, Blueberry for older people, the stuff in France and most of Europe that Babysitter's books are tremendous. The Babysitter's books are great. Again, the Babysitter's books go on too long. Most kids haven't read every single one, um, but people love them. Oh, Vincent Parnaud's Pinocchio. Sure, I have a customer who got that Hey Joe, I have a customer who got that Vincent Parnaud book in French. Can we see one? What? You want to see a Dog Man? You want to see Captain Underpants? We don't have so many Captain Underpants, but we got latest stuff for kids here. We've got the latest Dog Man, Blueberry and Pancake, Dave Roman's Unicorn Boy, Cat in the Hat graphic novel. I like chapter books. Happily Family. We got Amulet, which was a tremendous series. I like chapter books. I read all sorts of chapter books. When it comes to kids and young adult chapter books, I'm really fond of fantasy. I'm a humongous Tamora Pierce fan. Her Alana books are just some of my favorite. This is our kids section. It's filled with graphic novels for kids. All sorts of stuff. Mike Mayhack, who does the wonderful Cleopatra in Space, is now doing Spider-Man for kids. Stephanie Cook, who used to actually live around here, has the Rack Pack. Scott Morse, who was recently fired from Pixar, along with all those other great creators who left it. Dugout years ago. We've got Amulet, Babysitter's Club. I don't know, something. Stromium Dogs. Stronium Dogs is really interesting. Stronium Dogs just got reissued in nice big hardcovers. We don't have them in stock because those hardcovers were like $45. And I only had one customer interested in them, but we do have some old 2000 ADs in the back. The point that I'm making more than anything is that the market of comics as it is now is so different than when we opened that I really can't, I can't even remember what it was like. Like, there was no Lore Olympus. Marvel made Omnibuy, but they certainly didn't make it for current popular series. It was only really classic stuff like Jonathan Hickman's runs or like the Star Wars. I mean, that stuff wasn't out yet, but this is the sort of things they did Omnibuy for. Now they do them for things like Squirrel Girl, Howard the Duck, Gwenpool. Ooh, we're getting busier outside. This is a different time and place for comics than it was a decade ago on a massive scale in the United States. Like, well, thank you for complimenting the chops, Dr. Bong. Dr. Bong, of course, a very famous character from Howard the Duck, one of his arch villains. Really fascinating to me as a comic purveyor, as a seller, is how little most people know about comic books. Most people buying comic books nowadays are buying the one or two things that they're aware of. Kids know that there's all sorts of comics they don't know about. Adults who have been buying comics who are, let's say, past the age of 30 or 40, oh no, we don't sell any action figures, just books. Adults who are over the age of like 35 or 40 might have no idea that there's comic books like, again, they're not like, but they're similar to, they're important, they're meaningful, thoughtful, like Mouse, Parasopolis, Asterius Polyp. They might have read those books in a college class, but they have no concept that there's people putting out books like that every month. That there's people doing deeply personal memoirs regularly on a Patreon, and then it gets collected. They don't know that people are making right. Thank you, Joe. Oh, Donald Lawrence. I can see Donald Lawrence being very popular. The Netherlands has a whole nother thing. But yeah, Joe, as Joe said, Joe's one of our regulars here. If you go back in time and you say that Steve Ditko's joke one-off character, Squirrel Girl, was going to have her own book, be a running gag in the Marvel Universe, and there's going to be $125 gigantic book this big of her exploits. No one will believe you, because why would you make an $125 book? One of the things that really changed comics in the 80s, was this book. This is why one of the reasons that this book is always on Spire. This book was not picked up by Diamond, Capital, all the major distributors in the 80s because it was too big. It's 20 issues of a series, and they said, "Oh, we don't carry books that are that big." And The creator sold it himself. He sold it directly to stores and to customers, and he sold out of a 5,000 print run in a couple months. And they reached out to him and said, "Okay, we want to carry this for your next book." And he said, "Okay, only on condition that I get to keep publishing by my own." He sold this himself, but they also carried it in diamond. And little by little, more and more publishers started making thicker, bigger graphic novels throughout the 90s. Oh, Fish Sauce, the only good way to make money investing in comics is to invest in original art. I'm asking because we have customers coming into the shop now. Anything I can help you guys find?
Oh, yeah, we're just looking around.
All right, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right, I'm going to head off now since we do have some people in and I have some things to do before we close up for the day. If you're interested in the history of comics, if you're interested in us talking about comics, recommending comics, lots of stuff on the channel, or you can subscribe. We do a daily live stream Sunday through Friday. Love talking about any random topic that people bring up about comics. And on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we show off all the new books. So until then, remember, damn it, babies, you got to be kind.